After 3 long years apart, he returned to the lake, and what he revealed changed her life forever. The air was electric in Green Lake, Wisconsin, excitement buzzing beneath the rustling leaves like an impending summer storm. After 3 long years, Sarah stood on the edge of the lake, adrenaline coursing through her veins. Her heart raced as she waited for Jake, the man who once promised her the world, who had vanished into the shadows of war. As the bus pulled up, anticipation mingled with dread. Sarah clutched her 2 kids, Mia and Lucas, close. Memories washed over her like waves pounding the shore, laughter, promises, and the warmth of his arms. But now, they lived in a reality soaked in loyalty and aches. Was this reunion a blessing or a curse? When Jake stepped off the bus, clad in uniform, time stood still. The familiar lines of his face now bore the burden of experiences that tore at the fabric of their love. Sarah's breath hitched. Could she really welcome him back into her heart? Fear danced in her stomach, a knot of pain and yearning. She forced a smile, but inside, it felt like a battle. They found a moment by the lake, the shimmering water reflecting the chaos in her mind. Jake's voice was different, imbued with a depth that hinted at his emotional journey. He spoke of brotherhood, sacrifice, and a new vision for life beyond their old dreams. "I've seen things that changed me, Sarah," he said, looking her in the eyes. "I want to fight for us, for a new future." But those words hung heavy, like the growing storm clouds gathering above. Sarah's heart sputtered, torn between affection for the man who had captured her soul and the life she had built alone, filled with struggles and determination. "But I managed without you, Jake," she whispered, a hint of defiance matching the tension in her chest. The memories of sleepless nights were fresh, the bills piling high, and the whispers from townsfolk biting at her spirit. Nearby, cheerful families prepared for the annual lake festival. The humor, laughter, and music coalesced into a bittersweet aroma of nostalgia. Sarah watched the blissful scene, yearning for the unity and tenderness she once craved. Had the world moved on without her, and would their children ever truly understand the depths of their family's history? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as doubt began wrapping its fingers around her resolve, a siren pierced the cheerful atmosphere. News of an incoming storm rippled through the crowd like wildfire. The lake was rising, threatening to flood not just their festivities but the livelihoods of everyone in Green Lake. Panic split the air, the buoyant laughter now replaced by anxiety. In this chaos, Sarah's heart raced again, but for a different reason. She felt the pull between nostalgia and the urgency of survival. Could they find strength in each other as the floodwaters crept closer, exposing vulnerabilities and deep-seated biases in the community? Would their past unite them, or could it be a wall that drove them apart? She took a deep breath, standing on the precipice of an uncertain future. Jake's presence ignited a fire within her. The time for decisions was now. Would love mend their fractured family, or would the storm take it all away? As turbulent emotions swirled around her, one gripping question lingered: could this be the pivotal moment that would change everything, or was it too late to salvage what little they had left as the floodwaters surged forward? The wind howled, whipping through the trees as townsfolk scrambled, seeking shelter and safety. Sarah could see the fear etched on their faces, mirroring her own swirling emotions. Here she stood, caught between the man she had loved and the life she was trying to protect. "Mama!" Mia tugged at her sleeve, her wide, innocent eyes reflecting pure worry. Lucas clung tightly to her other side, echoing the tension that filled the air. Sarah knelt to meet their gaze. "We have to keep moving, kids, but we're going to be okay," she said, though her own voice trembled, adding a weight of uncertainty to her words. "Mom, what about Dad?" Lucas asked, his little voice breaking. Jake knelt next to them, his uniform darkened by rain and shadows of his past. That closeness invoked memories they could never erase but had challenged many times in silence. "I'm right here, buddy," he replied, determination seeping through the worry and weight in his voice. "I'm not going anywhere this time." Sarah felt a crack in her armor, a neurosis that fought against longing and dread. Could she truly trust him again? The image of nights spent alone loomed large, but she couldn't allow her children to see the cracks. They needed stability, especially now that as the rain began to pour, families scattered in different directions. The lake's edge roared, swelling like an angry beast ready to consume everything in its path. She could feel the earth tremble beneath her feet. The festival that had once promised joy now unfolded into a disaster, and all around them, chaos reigned. "Look!" Jake pointed toward the rising water. "We need to help, Sarah. It's flooding fast. Everyone needs to get things secured." His urgency ignited something in her, a merging of their past bond and the present reality. "Right," she breathed, determination flooding her senses. They needed to work together, even as the tension between them crackled. "Let us find the others." Together, they moved, her hand slipping into his as they maneuvered toward the heart of the action. Jake was right. Amid the storm, the community still worked in unison. People began stacking sandbags, organizing volunteers to safeguard homes. The rhythm of their labor was a pulse she had missed. "Mama!" Mia called again, pointing to their neighbors, the Thompson family. They were struggling with a much heavier load than usual. The little girl's concern mirrored Sarah's heart. You couldn't let the anger from the past reign over the urgencies of the present. "We should help them," Sarah said, squeezing Jake's hand. "Let us go." He nodded, enthusiasm igniting that spark of camaraderie and hope that as they approached, a wave of emotion swept over her as the Thompsons turned to face them. "We've got too much to handle. We can't do it without help." Mr. Thompson shouted against the wind. "We're here." Sarah shouted back defiantly. "Let us work together. We can save everything." For the first time in years, Sarah felt a collective strength not just in her community, but in herself as well. The flood was a ticking clock, urging them into solidarity. In that urgency, a flicker of old feelings and new resolve coalesced. Jake's presence was no longer just a haunting memory, but a promise of partnership, a potential that could be rebuilt. The storm roared, beads of rain clashed around them, each droplet seeming to hammer home the true meaning of resilience. A cacophony of laughter and shouts bounded between the backdrop of despair, and Sarah grasped that sometimes, it was the moments of chaos that gathered people tighter than any serene afternoon. Just before they started loading the bags, Jake's grip tightened around hers, his gaze serious. "I know it's complicated, Sarah. But can you trust me again? Can we fight this storm together?" Her heart hesitated before answering. As the waves threatened to wash away everything they knew, she wondered, could they really weather this together, or was darkness closing in around their chance? The storm swelled around them, and Sarah felt her resolve crystallizing. The real battle had only just begun. What could they lose against the flood, and could love find a way to sparkle amid the tumult? The rain hammered down harder, transforming the once familiar town square into a swirling sea of mud and panic. Sarah clenched Jake's hand tighter, its warmth anchoring her in a reality that felt more like a nightmare. They moved as one, urgency etched into each step. Around them, neighbors gathered and shouted orders, their voices battling the storm's roar. "Stack those bags higher. We can't let it breach the road." Someone yelled, followed by clattering as sand poured freely. Sarah darted her eyes around, absorbing the rush and chaos, yet in those moments, a tiny flame of hope breathed within her. Jake glanced at her, his eyes glimmering with an intensity she hadn't seen in years. "We need to get Mia and Lucas safe first," he urged. Sarah nodded, swallowing her reservations. She would play her part. Together, they could make it through. As they approached the Thompsons, Sarah could see Mrs. Thompson shielding her two children, her face a mask of determination despite the obvious strain. Sarah. We need to get these boxes up. They won't hold for long. She shouted, fear punctuating her words. Let us move, Jake said, and without hesitation, Sarah joined in, adrenaline coursing through her veins like fire. They heaved and lifted, the muscles in their arms protesting but pushed by necessity. With each sandbag they handed off, Sarah glimpsed her neighbor's gratitude. It reminded her of the warmth that once encapsulated their community, back when life felt simpler, before heartbreak and betrayal had seeped into her world like the rising floodwaters. Mama. Mia's voice broke through, laced with worry. Up here, honey. Come stand with us. Sarah shouted back, trying to maintain an assurance she didn't fully feel. She urged Lucas to follow Mia into a nearby dry corner, the safety of the porch they had all gathered around. In that moment, the storm offered a cruel distraction, and while everyone worked, Sarah's pulse quickened. Jake stood close, their bodies brushing against each other, reminding her of past nights filled with laughter and warmth. We'll figure this out, he whispered as they paused momentarily, catching breath. I promise. Can promises be kept? After everything? She replied, a wave of vulnerability washing over her. I mean it. It's different now. I'm different, his voice softened like a balm over old wounds. Just trust me, please. Taking a deep breath, she tried to focus on the task ahead, but his words lingered, swirling around them in the storm like restless leaves. Suddenly, a roar from the lake erupted, sending a surge of panic through her body. We need to move everyone back. Jake shouted, eyes wide as he scanned the water's furious rise. Come on, kids. Sarah urged Mia and Lucas, quickly directing them further away from the encroaching threat, the community's earlier synchronized efforts frayed. Shouts grew urgent, hands reaching out to pull others from danger. The electricity of fear mingled with purpose, blurring the lines between strangers and allies. Sarah shivered as she scanned their surroundings, a kaleidoscope of faces mirroring the same determination she felt deep within. As the tide started lapping at the edges of town, she turned to Jake. What if we don't make it? The words spilled out before she could hold them back, his expression hardened, a deep resolve settling in. We will. I'm not letting you or the kids drown, not again. The air thickened, and Sarah realized that beneath the storm's chaos lay an uncharted territory for the two of them, a chance to confront the past and decide if hope could take root again. But just then, a deafening crack echoed, splitting the air. In the distance, a tree toppled over, crashing like thunder into the surge. Their eyes locked, fear flashing between them. Sarah! Jake yelled, urgency snapping her back. We need to get everyone to higher ground now. As adrenaline overtook their fear, Sarah's heart raced. She felt the stir of uncertainties and broken promises. Would they be able to fight together and face the storm, or would it tear them apart once more, with her heart pounding? She took one last look at Jake, ready to leap into action, but the storm held its breath. What lay ahead remained uncertain. Would they survive, and would their heart's true battle finally begin? The wind howled, carrying with it a mix of rain and fear, as Sarah pulled Mia closer, her heart racing. The ground beneath them was shifting, threatening to swallow the town whole. Each crash of thunder felt like a drumbeat of impending doom, but deep inside, Sarah found a flicker of determination. Higher ground. Jake shouted again, urgency lacing his tone. The adults worked feverishly now, moving children and the elderly, their bodies responding with an instinct born of shared peril. Sarah let Mia and Lucas clutch her sides as they ran to the nearby hill where the church stood proudly, a beacon in the storm. It felt like a sanctuary in this whirlwind of chaos. As they climbed, her legs burned, and flashes of old memories fought their way back. Days of laughter around summer barbecues, games in the park, fall evenings with leaves crunching underfoot. The heart of their community felt like it was slipping away, only to be replaced by the desperate cries for help echoing around her. Sarah pushed her thoughts aside. She didn't have time for that. Halfway up, she paused to catch her breath. She turned to see Jake hauling up the last of the sandbags. His hair was drenched, plastered against his forehead, but his face was set in a mask of determination. He was fighting not just for survival but for something more, a promise to build a future that had almost been lost. "Mama!" Mia's voice broke through the storm, reminding Sarah of what was at stake. She couldn't let fear take hold. Not when it was so close to them. "I'm here," Sarah called, forcing a smile as she brushed a damp strand of hair from Mia's forehead. "We're almost there." But then the ground trembled, and the waves roared again, closer now. Panic surged through the throng of people on the hill, and Sarah felt the grip of dread tightening in her chest. Every second counted. Jake sprinted toward them, the weight of worry etched in every muscle. "We've got to," a loud crack echoed, followed by the sight of their neighbor, Mr. Peterson, losing his footing on the muddy terrain. Sarah's heart lurched as she saw him slip, sliding dangerously close to the edge. Without thinking, Sarah lunged. She reached out, catching his wrist just in time. "Hang on!" she shouted, straining against the force of the raging water below. Jake was there a moment later, grabbing Mr. Peterson's other arm, pulling with strength that surprised even him. Together they yanked the man back, relief flooding the group as they regained their footing. "Thank you," I thought Mr. Peterson stammered, eyes wide with fear. Sarah met Jake's gaze, a shared moment of understanding passing between them. They were fighting side by side again, united against the storm, maybe even more now than they ever had been. Just then, a loud rumble echoed above the storm. Lightning split the sky, illuminating a terrifying sight. More trees were coming down, debris flying through the air like arrows. "Get inside!" someone screamed. The urgency pushed the crowd into a frenzy, but Jake grabbed Sarah's hand firmly, pulling her close. "Stay together," he urged, determination igniting his eyes. As the rain lashed at them, she felt not just fear but hope. Maybe it was this chaos that could bring them back to a place where everything had been safe, whole. With a newfound resolve, she nodded, her heart swelling with words unspoken. They could rise again. Together, the church door stood ahead, a distant light among the gloom. Just when she thought the storm couldn't roar louder, there was a booming crash nearby, sending her heart into freefall. "Sarah!" Jake's voice pierced the chaos, pulling her back from her thoughts. "Now!" They took off running, adrenaline fueling every step until they reached the church's open doors, the precarious safety of the inside looming ahead. But as they crossed the threshold, Sarah caught sight of movement behind them, a flash of color in a sea of gray. "Wait!" she shouted, turning back, her heart pounding. What she saw next would change everything. There, among the wreckage and rain, stood a figure she never expected to see again. The very person who had haunted her dreams and brought about her most painful memories. Would the storm sweep away the past, or was this about to become their greatest challenge yet? The rain poured down like a curtain, isolating Sarah from the world. Her breath caught in her throat as she recognized the figure, the last person she expected to see in this nightmare, and yet, here he was. Tyler. His silhouette was vague at first, framed by flashes of lightning that illuminated the chaotic backdrop of their broken town. "What are you doing here?" Sarah managed to shout over the roar of the storm, her heart hammering against her ribs. Memories rushed back, bittersweet and sharp. Times they'd shared, moments turned to regrets. "Mia!" Tyler called out, his voice strained but firm. "She's alive." His eyes locked onto Mia, and in that moment of desperation and confusion, he looked almost fragile, like a leaf caught in the tempest. "Get to the church!" Jake shouted, pulling Sarah back to the urgency around them. But Sarah stood frozen, torn. All those years of hurt and loss crashed over her, merging with the immediate need to survive. "Mama?" Mia's small voice broke through, a gentle reminder of what mattered most. Sarah stammered, feeling the warmth of her child beside her and the pull of the past shoving against her heart. Tyler took a step closer, the fear in his eyes as raw as her own. "I can help, please." Just let me in. Are you crazy? Jake's voice cut across the rain, anger flaring through his concern. After all this time? I didn't come back to hurt anyone. Tyler's voice was steady, despite the chaos. There was a sincerity behind it that cut through the noise. Everything's changed. I've changed. Sarah squeezed Mia's hand tightly, searching her daughter's eyes for guidance. What would Mia want? A connection to her father or safety from the storms of the past? Just let him go. Someone yelled from the crowd behind them. Fear was palpable among the onlookers, and the weather roared its approval, a telling backdrop to their tension. Sarah, we don't have time. Jake urged again, his grip now tightening on her arm. Please. But Sarah hesitated. The storm churned both outside and within her. She didn't want Tyler back in her life, she had built walls to keep the wounds from reopening. But the image of their small family, once whole and happy, loomed large in her heart. Sarah, what do we do? Mia asked again, her innocent voice tinted with concern. The little girl's gaze switched between her mother and Tyler, seeking a resolution only a mother's instinct could provide. Swallowing hard, Sarah felt the weight of choice congealing in the air. The rain beat frantically against her skin, and for a moment, everything faded: the storm, the screaming, the fear, until only Tyler remained. You have to promise, she started, her voice low and taut. If we let you in, I promise, he cut in without hesitation, his sincerity gleaming through the chaos. I'll prove it to you. At that moment, a bolt of lightning flashed above, illuminating the stark reality. They were standing on the precipice of their past, with an uncertain future raging around them. All right, she whispered, finally rallying her resolve. You can come in. But you have to be honest. Tyler nodded, relief washing across his face, just as a loud crash resonated in the distance. The earth shifted again under their feet, and the group around them seemed to take a collective breath, waiting. As they stepped back into the safety of the church, the storm raged on, but a different kind of storm brewed in Sarah's heart. Would this be an opportunity for healing, or would it tear them apart again? Every choice carries its weight. What would this new path reveal? The answer remained elusive, hidden behind the turbulence of the storm within them. Would the light of the church be enough to cast out the shadows of the past, or would this confrontation only elevate the stakes? Just as Sarah turned to grasp the handle of the church door, she felt a familiar pang in her chest. This moment would change everything. What would Tyler reveal that could alter the course of their lives once again? The door creaked open, groaning in protest against the wind. The sanctuary of the church felt warm and inviting, a stark contrast to the storm that raged outside. Sarah stepped inside, Mia's small hand still clutched in hers, and felt the atmosphere shift. The flickering candlelight cast dancing shadows on the walls, illuminating the faces of those gathered, anxious, hopeful, uncertain. Tyler followed closely behind, his presence heavy with unspoken burdens. Sarah could sense the weight of his gaze as it roamed the room, darting to familiar faces that mirrored her own fears and confusion. She felt the heat of their collective scrutiny, old judgments and new alliances came to the forefront like rising tides. Mama, where are we going? Mia's voice, soft yet clear, tugged at Sarah's heart. Just for a moment, sweetie. We need to talk, Sarah replied, trying to maintain her calm. Her heart raced, racing ahead to what would come next. Tyler took a deep breath, steadying himself. Can we find a place to talk, privately? Jake stepped forward, protective as ever. This isn't the time for secrets, Tyler. If you're back, you need to explain yourself in front of everyone. There's no going back to the past without clearing the air. I understand, Tyler said, running a hand through his damp hair, tension visible in the lines of his face. But this is about Mia. About you, Sarah. It's complicated, and I'd rather we do this away from prying eyes. The air in the church felt thicker than before as Sarah weighed her options. Was it fair to shut him out completely, especially now when so many emotions were at play? She caught a glimpse of Tyler's eyes, searching for something, and despite the trepidation within her, a flicker of empathy sparked. He was, after all, still Mia's father. Fine. Sarah's voice was firm but quivered slightly. We'll talk. But know this, you have to be honest, Tyler. No more hiding. He nodded, the gratitude clear in his expression. Thank you. They made their way toward a small side room, where the sounds of the storm faded slightly, replaced by the hushed whispers and distant thuds of the rain pounding against the church roof. Once the door closed, it felt like they were stepping into a cell of both confinement and sanctuary. Why now? Sarah's voice echoed in the silence, demanding answers. 3 years, Tyler. You vanished without a word. You left us. Why come back now? Tyler squared his shoulders, vulnerability painted across his face. I didn't choose this, Sarah. I was forced away and I've spent every day regretting it. After the storm that separated us, I found a part of me that I had to confront. The truth about everything our past, who I was, is harder than I imagined. What do you mean? Mia asked, her big eyes bouncing between them, sensing the tension yet remaining hopeful. Because I learned I wasn't alone in my decisions, he said, his gaze drifting to the floor, his voice growing more somber. I've been in contact with people who wanted to keep me away from you. They didn't want me to come back. They had reasons that still threaten us all. What? Sarah gasped, confusion and fear flooding her system. Who? What are you talking about? I can't explain everything right now, but it involves choices I never wanted to make, relationships I had to forge to survive. If I share my truths, then you deserve to know what really happened to our family, and why I was taken from you. As the words hung in the air like a looming storm cloud, Mia's small fingers squeezed her mother's hand tighter. Sarah felt 1,000 thoughts colliding in her mind. The want to protect, to shield Mia from the mess of adulthood felt overwhelming. Is it safe? Sarah asked, shaking her head slightly, battling the sensation rising in her chest. How can we be sure? Tyler stepped closer, intensity etched in his features. I'll do whatever it takes to keep you both safe. We have to confront this together. I understand if you don't trust me, but I need you to feel that I've changed. I need a chance to prove it. In that moment, Sarah saw not just a father but a man longing for redemption, yet perilously close to the edge. Would this truth bring clarity or chaos? The fragile balance of their reunion teetered on the edge of continued heartache or renewed hope. Mama, Mia whispered, breaking the pregnant silence, what if he has something important to say? Sarah felt the weight of the storm brewing outside and inside her. The past was like the rain battering down against the church, relentless and messy. But could this be a chance for healing? Could this be the moment everything changed? With a deep breath, she prepared to face the truth. Okay, Tyler. Share your truth, but just know, any more lies will cost you everything. The room tightened around them, anticipation crackling in the air. What revelations would come next, and would they shatter their fragile peace or mend the threads of their family that stretched thin? Only time would tell. Tyler shifted uncomfortably, his eyes darting between Mia and Sarah. The candlelight flickered, casting shadows that seemed to dance nervously around them. The weight of the moment pressed heavily against his chest, and he drew in a shaky breath. Okay, he began, his voice trembling slightly, there's a lot I need to make clear. What you need to know is that I was involved with people who operate in the shadows, people who don't want us to be together. The air thickened with tension. Sarah's heart raced as the implications of his words sank in. Are you saying you were in danger? She asked, her voice edged with concern. What kind of people, Tyler? They're not just anyone. They have connections, power. I was drawn in, mostly out of fear I might lose you both forever if I defied them. His eyes locked onto Sarah's, desperation shining through. I had to play along for a while, to protect you. Mia's grip on Sarah's hand tightened, her curiosity evident. But why didn't you tell Mama that? Why just leave us? Tyler winced, guilt washing over him, and for a moment, he appeared smaller than he ever had. I thought I could protect you by staying away, that if I left, they'd lose interest. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Sarah felt a rush of anger alongside the worry that wrapped tighter around her heart. So, who are these people? Why are they after you? Why come back when you still have this threat hanging over us? I messed up, Tyler confessed, his voice steadier now, and I needed to find a way to break free. When I learned that they were still watching, that they could still hurt you, I knew I couldn't hide anymore. I realized the only way to truly keep you both safe was to come back and face this head-on. Sarah shook her head in disbelief. You want us to trust you after everything? After you just vanished without a trace? I know it sounds impossible, but I need you to believe me, he pleaded. Things are different now. I've gathered information, and I'm ready to expose them. But I can't do it alone, we have to work together. What do you want us to do? Sarah challenged, her voice rising slightly as she fought to maintain control over the chaos brewing inside her. I need your help to gather evidence, to figure out what they want from me. I can't be the only one fighting this fight. And if they've been watching us, they'll find out I'm back. I won't let you be collateral damage. Just as her heart began to settle into understanding, another wave of fear crashed over Sarah. She didn't want to put Mia in the line of fire. What happens if they come for us? Her voice dropped to a whisper laced with dread. Tyler reached out, his hand hovering uncertainly before he made contact with Mia's hand. It felt warm, almost like an anchor. In that moment, he became not just her father but the man determined to reclaim their family, and yet, the question of safety loomed large. They could, he acknowledged, sorrow and regret spilling over each word, but I will do everything to keep you safe. I didn't return for myself, I came back for you too. Mia's wide eyes shifted between her mother and Tyler. So, can we be a family again? Like before? The innocent question broke the tension, causing tears to prick at Sarah's eyes. Could they truly come back from this? Tyler was clearly a different man, transformed by the trials he faced, but what if he was still at risk? Let us take it one step at a time, Sarah said, her voice softer. We'll figure this out together, but we must stay cautious. I want to let you both get hurt again. Not ever. As they stood there, the shadows of the room wrapped around them like a shaky promise of hope. But deep inside, fear clawed at her mind, daring to whisper that the battle was far from over. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from outside, sending their hearts into a frenzy. With another blast of thunder, the sanctuary felt less safe than before. What was that? Mia cried out, eyes wide with fright. Stay close, Tyler said sharply, his instincts kicking in. Whatever's happening, don't let go of each other. The storm raged on. Outside, an uncertainty loomed in the air. Would the danger come from within or without? As they braced against the looming threat, every heartbeat resonated with the urgency of the moment, an echo of the chaotic reality they would have to face. And then came the rumble of footsteps approaching, heavy and deliberate. Who was out there, and what did they want? The footsteps grew louder, echoing in the small, candlelit room. Each thud seemed to thump in time with Sarah's racing heart. She shot a glance at Tyler, his jaw clenched, eyes narrowed. Fear was etched across Mia's face, and in that moment, Sarah felt a wave of protectiveness surge within her. Tyler, she whispered, her voice trembling. Quiet, he commanded softly, his eyes fixed on the door like a hawk watching its prey. The faint sound of muffled voices slithered through the cracks of the old wooden door. They were close. An icy shiver ran down Sarah's spine as she instinctively pulled Mia closer, wrapping her arms around her like a shield. What do we do? Mia asked, her small voice barely a whisper. Tyler urged, though it was clear he had no easy answers. The storm outside continued to rage, the wind howling like it was warning them of the impending danger. Sarah's mind raced. Were these the people Tyler had been warned about? They had come back to reclaim him, or worse, to hurt them. She couldn't let that happen. "Remember what we talked about," Tyler said, his eyes still on the door. "Stay calm. We stand together, no matter what." Suddenly, the door creaked. A figure cast a shadow against the yellow glow of candlelight, long and menacing. Tyler stepped forward, positioning himself in front of Sarah and Mia. "Get back!" he shouted at the door, raising his hands defensively. "Tyler," a familiar voice called out, echoing from outside. "It's me." The figure moved into the light, revealing a tall man with sharp features and an unmistakable expression of urgency. Sarah blinked, recognition dawning painfully. It was Ryan, Tyler's old friend, someone Sarah thought stayed far away from their lives. "What are you doing here?" Tyler's voice was a mixture of relief and frustration. "I barely made it." "They're looking for you," Ryan said, panting slightly as he stepped fully into the room. "We need to move now." Sarah's heart pounded harder. Who's looking for him?" Ryan glanced at Sarah, his eyes fixed in an understanding stare. "The ones Tyler got mixed up with. They know he's back, and they want to let him go this time. You two need to understand this is serious." Sarah felt her breath hitch in her throat. "You can't be serious. This isn't just about us being a family again. It's about our survival." Tyler turned, gripping Sarah's shoulders tightly. "I won't let anything happen to you," he vowed, his voice fierce. "But we can't stand here talking. They're getting closer, I can feel it." Mia, eyes wide with fear, searched her mother's face. There was a flicker of doubt there, a concern that maybe they had come back only to lose everything again. "Then what are we waiting for?" Mia replied, determination sparking in her voice like a flame in the dark. "Let us go. Together." Sarah knew they needed to act. They were at a crossroads: stay and risk everything, or flee into the unknown. But could they survive what lay ahead? Would they find safety, or would they be running into a trap? "Ryan, do you have a place we can go?" Tyler asked, desperation lacing his voice. "Yes, but it's not far and it's not safe," Ryan replied, urgency creeping back into his tone. "We need to be smart about this." Tyler looked to Sarah, then to Mia. There was an unspoken agreement between them, a promise forged in fear and hope. "Let us move," Sarah said, finding strength in her voice. As they grabbed bags and hurried towards the door, Sarah's heart pounded with each step. She could hardly wrap her head around what was happening. Were they about to become targets in a game they never wanted to play? Just as they crossed the threshold, another crash of thunder shook the ground beneath them. Lightning flickered outside, illuminating the path ahead. What awaited them outside? "Stay close," Tyler urged, leading them into the storm's ferocity, but where were they going? Outside, the world was treacherous, filled with uncertainty. With every passing moment, danger loomed not just from the shadows but from inside themselves. As they stepped into the storm, clenching one another's hands tightly, a surge of resolve pushed them forward. Would their rekindled bond hold strong against the waves of chaos sure to come? The rain pelted down like tiny daggers, lashing against their skin as they stepped into the tempest. The wind whipped wildly around them, its cold fingers searching for weaknesses. For a moment, Sarah couldn't hear anything above the roar. It was like the storm was trying to swallow them whole. "Ryan, where do we go?" Tyler shouted over the wind, urgency clear in his voice. "To the old boathouse. It's not far, but we have to move quickly." Ryan yelled back, already sprinting ahead with a determination that inspired Sarah. Tyler took Mia's hand, dragging her along as Sarah followed closely behind. Each step felt like pushing through molasses. The pounding rain mixed with her spiraling thoughts, and she fought back feelings of panic. It wasn't just the storm that terrified her, it was the recent memory of the storm in their lives. With every flash of lightning, she caught glimpses of their surroundings, the dark silhouettes of towering trees, the glint of the lake rippling and churning with anger. The boathouse appeared like a haunted relic in the distance, its outline flickering as if debating whether to stay or vanish like the fading light. As they reached the door, Tyler kicked it open with a loud thud that echoed ominously within. They tumbled inside, soaked to the bone but safe, for now. Sarah leaned against the wall, panting, her heart racing as she pulled Mia close. "Are you two okay?" Tyler asked, brushing the rain from Mia's hair and inspecting her for any signs of distress. "I'm scared, Mommy," Mia whispered, her voice trembling. "I know, sweetie." "I am too," Sarah admitted, pulling the girl tighter. She had to be strong for Mia. "Ryan, what else do we need to know? What's gonna happen next?" Tyler demanded, his voice suddenly serious, eyes narrowed. "They're ruthless. You have to understand that," Ryan replied, pacing the cramped space, his hands running through his dark hair. "They won't stop searching until they find you. We need to keep moving, hide until we can find a way to get you out of the area." Mia let go of her mother's hand, looking up at Tyler. "Will we be okay? I want everything to be normal again." "Normal?" Tyler echoed, his voice faint. "I wish it could be that simple." In that moment, Sarah saw a flicker of vulnerability flash across her husband's face. It crushed her more than she expected. She wanted more than anything to tell Mia that everything would be all right, that they would find their way back to the life they once had. But how could she promise that when they were teetering on the precarious edge of uncertainty? A crash of thunder rumbled overhead, shaking the boathouse. The wind shrieked like a banshee outside, clawing at the walls as if trying to break inside. Ryan's voice cut through Sarah's spiraling thoughts. "There's a tunnel under the boathouse. It leads to the forest. We can't stay here long." "Why haven't we used it before?" Tyler challenged, not wanting to leave anything to chance. "Because it was never necessary until now. We have to go," Ryan urged, urgency returning to his tone. As they gathered their courage and prepared to descend into the darkness, hesitation gripped Sarah. "Tyler, what if this is another trap?" She voiced her fear, looking into his eyes. He stepped closer, lowering his voice to a whisper. "We take one step at a time. Together. We'll trust each other. Together." Sarah murmured, squeezing Mia's hand tighter, trying to extract strength from it. In that moment of solidarity, Sarah felt a flicker of hope. But the doubt lingered. As they plunged into the dank tunnel, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were racing towards something they might not be ready to face. And then, just as they stepped out of the shallow of the boathouse, Sarah heard a voice echoing behind them, chilling her to the core. "Did you really think you could escape me?" With adrenaline surging through her veins, they turned to face the darkness closing in, a sense of dread settling in her stomach. Who were they truly running from? Where would it end? "Go!" Tyler shouted, pushing Mia ahead as they forged deeper into the unknown. Echoes of the storm still rattled through the tunnels beneath the boathouse as Sarah's heart raced. She clutched Mia's small hand tightly, the genuine warmth of her child's trust grounding her as they moved further into the darkness. The distant sound of thunder felt like a warning bell, reminding them of the chaos they had escaped but could not shake off entirely. "Keep going," Tyler urged, determination etched across his features, his eyes scanning for threats even in the dim light. Ryan led the way, navigating the twists and turns, the air thick with moisture and a sense of urgency that made every heartbeat echo all the more loudly. "What are we running from?" Sarah whispered, half to herself, half looking for reassurance. "What if we're just running into a trap?" Tyler turned back, his expression serious yet soft. "We're not running away. We're moving towards safety, together," he replied firmly, though she could sense the uncertainty that lingered, the tension hanging heavily in the air. "I promise, we will find a way to put this behind us. I won't let them hurt you again." For a fleeting moment, Sarah pondered whether she could trust him after everything, the heartache, the years lost, and yet, there was something about his conviction that ignited a flicker of hope in her. This new Tyler, molded by experiences far harsher than she could imagine, bore a determination that made her consider the possibility of a future unchained from the past. With every step they took, the darkness seemed to lessen. Echoes of rain pounding above started to fade into an ambient hush, replaced only by the hushed whispers of worry and the crackling energy binding them together. "Tyler, these people," Sarah began, finding the courage to voice her fears. "What if they find us? They won't. Not if we stick to the plan," he assured her, solidifying his grip on their intertwined hands. "We'll go north toward the old hunting cabin. It's been abandoned for years. It'll give us time and space to figure everything out." As they drew closer to a patch of light ahead, Ryan paused, casting a quick glance over his shoulder, ensuring they weren't being followed. "We need to stay quiet," he said, the tension tangible in his voice. As they emerged from the tunnel, the air shifted around them. The rain, once a maddening roar, turned into a gentle patter against the leaves overhead, transforming into a natural symphony that echoed reassurance. It felt as if nature embraced them after the storm, inviting them to breathe. "Mama, are we safe now?" Mia asked, her innocent eyes brimming with apprehension. Sarah knelt, meeting her daughter's gaze. "We are safe as long as we stay together. We're a team, remember? Just like superheroes." Mia exclaimed, managing a smile that eased the tension in Sarah's heart. It was the light she needed, illuminating the shadowy terrain of their reality. "Exactly," Tyler chimed in, the corners of his mouth lifting slightly. "We'll fight together. Superheroes never back down." As they trekked through the thick forest, the path was a fabric woven with possibilities, growth, and unseen challenges. Somehow, in this moment, the weight of fear began to close its grip on her heart. Unlike before, she found strength in their unity, a shared commitment to protect one another despite the storms on the horizon. Suddenly, rustling nearby made them all freeze. The sound grew louder, and a familiar figure emerged through the underbrush. It was Jake, his face radiant even in the dimness, a smile breaking through the chaos behind him. "You found them!" he exclaimed, relief flooding his voice. "I was worried sick." "Jake!" Sarah rushed forward, enveloping him in a tight hug, a whispered jumble of fears and hopes pouring out. Their connection sparked anew, echoing the bond they had almost lost in the waves of uncertainty. "What the hell is happening? Are we in danger?" he asked, looking at Tyler with a mixture of trepidation and protectiveness. "Just a little family reunion," Tyler replied with a nervous chuckle. "But I need you on my side if we're going to get through this." "What do you mean?" Jake eyed him, gauging both potential threat and the sincerity in his words. "Mia deserves to know her whole family. We're in this together," Tyler said, his voice steady. "But danger is close. They're watching us." Sarah squeezed Mia's hand, the tight strands of family tying them together. "We have to stay close. Now more than ever." So they moved, the four of them linked in purpose, racing against time and their fragile pasts. Through the swelling foliage, the feeling of hope mingled with caution, weaving a new narrative within their lives. As they reached the hunting cabin, a quaint silhouette standing defiant amid the towering trees, they paused, a profound silence lingering around them. Tyler pushed the door open, revealing the artwork of time lost and memories held within. The cabin was a portal to serenity, a refuge for healing bruised hearts. Inside, cobwebs clung to the corners, and dust danced in the soft light filtering through the cracked windows. They hurriedly settled in, each catching their breath and their thoughts as time seemed to slow. "We're safe for now," Tyler reassured, but whispers of the past crept in like shadows after twilight, memories lingering like a fog. "This isn't over," Sarah said, determined. "We need to prepare ourselves for the fight ahead." "Yes," Jake agreed, stepping forward. "And the first thing we need to do is figure out what we're up against." So they crafted a plan, diving into the details of Tyler's warnings, piecing together what had driven them all apart and threatened to tear them down again. This time, they would not run away. They would stand their ground, rebuilding foundations stronger than the storms they faced. As night enveloped them in a protective embrace, they realized this marked the beginning, not just an end. Their hearts began to mend, not just as survivors, but as warriors of love entwined in courage and hope. Together, they were ready to rewrite their story. Together, they could brave any storm, and together, they needed their community to rise with them. "Now is the moment we fight back," Sarah stated, her voice laced with newfound strength. "Let us reach out, let us bring everyone back together." With that, they gathered close, the flickering shadows mirroring the light of their resilience, emboldened not just by each other but by the love they shared, and somehow, they knew they would find their way back home again. If you resonated with Sarah's journey of resilience and transformation, you need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss the next exclusive stories that inspire and unite. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread hope, because every engagement counts. Comment below sharing your reactions and feelings about this heartfelt ending. Your voice matters, and don't just keep it to yourself. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation and find courage in their storms, just like Sarah did. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the power of community and connection through these actions.